My next guest is the editor-in-chief for JustTheNews.com, John Solomon, joining us. And where do I begin, John? It has been a whirlwind of a week.
Yes, indeed.
I'm literally speechless.
And that never happens all weekend.
It's not over. It's not going to be over for weeks upon weeks, probably like 2000. And would you say, John, rightfully so, this needs to go through the correct legal process?
Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, if we don't address the questions that the president and his supporters have raised, Joe Biden would enter the White House with half the country thinking he's there illegitimately. And I think getting to the bottom of these things won't take long. Were votes legally counted? Nobody wants votes that were legally cast to be dismissed. We want all those to be counted. But if there are votes that don't meet the legal standard, we in America believe in law and order, and I think that we're trying to root those out if there are any. That's the process that's going on, and the courts are going to help in that. Election watchers are going to help in that. Recanvassing is going to help in that. Recounts are going to help in that, and it's going to take a few weeks, and then we're going to know who rightfully and lawfully won this election.
John, listening to you and looking up your background, you seem like a very, very common sense and no nonsense, middle of the road guy. So I know that I'm sure you have looked out there online and seen some of the videos that we've seen. You've heard the claims from voters of witnessing voter fraud, at things happening behind the scenes. We've all heard they're stopping GOP count watchers into certain count rooms in certain states. What's your opinion and feeling on this? Because the mainstream media, MSNBC, CNN, all of them keep saying there's no voter fraud. We heard Brian Williams, Mr. Liar, come out and say there's no voter fraud, and they cut the president off last night. What do you think?
Well, listen, we have 50 journalists, a total of 50 journalists right now looking at the 4 contested states, precinct by precinct. We're reviewing the data. We're interviewing people in the precincts. We're comparing voter logs to Social Security death logs and to real people. We're interviewing people. Your name is on this list as voted. Did you really vote? We're going through neighborhoods and asking people, did someone come and collect your ballot for you? We're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to follow the facts. Listen, voter fraud can be anything anyone wants it to be. We're going to make sure that it's factual. These things happen. So there are 3 buckets that you look at. One is people didn't vote, but they showed up as voting. That's fraud. There are places where people voted, but they didn't have the right to vote, or the way they voted didn't follow the law. That's not necessarily fraud, but it's bad voting or improper or illegal voting, right? And accounting could be part of it too. And then a third part is the constitutional standards been met? There are 2 constitutional standards. Everybody in a state should have an equal and opportunity to vote and vote in the same way. That there shouldn't be a Philadelphia voter shouldn't be able to get their ballots fixed, and people in Pittsburgh couldn't get their ballots fixed, right? So there's an equal protection question of voting. And the second is, were the voting practices put into place authorized by the legislature? Because the Constitution is clear. The legislature makes up the rules, not elected bureaucrats or elected officials. All 3 of those things there are current disputes over, and we've got to go through them factually, get to the bottom of it, and then we'll know which parts of the election are lawful, which ones were erroneous or unlawful.
See, I knew looking up your bio and reading about your company, JustTheNews.com, and what you guys do, I would like you. Because you're a straight shooter.
Thank you.
You've got the journalists out there, like you said, doing the groundwork, looking into this. You're just trying to get real answers. You're not trying to sway anything left, right, like a lot of the lamestream media. You just want the truth. So, John, they're giving me the hard rap. It's a Friday. You probably want to go take a break from all this for a little bit, right? Before next week begins. Do me a favor. Come back next week sometime. Give us an update on what your reporters are finding. Will you please?
Count me in. We would love that.
Okay. John Solomon, editor-in-chief of JustTheNews.com. Really appreciate your time.
Pleasure.
All right, don't go away. When we come back, it's time to get real.